Okay, I'm here in the museum of the Nacogdoches University building that was constructed chartered in 1845. It had a succession of students, and it was built by a guy with the last name McElroy. He's buried in the Oak Grove Cemetery. It's gone through a lot of history since then, a lot of different uses. It was a Confederate hospital during the Civil War, and later used by the Federals during Reconstruction in Nacogdoches County. And I believe the Masons occupied it, and the Catholics. It's got some rich array of different items. I just now found about it thanks to a paranormal YouTube channel about the paranormal stories in Nacogdoches, Texas, and history, but I'll put the description for that channel in my channel and in my description after this video. Here's some of the artifacts. The South had an appreciation for the shotgun and just type of rustic backwoods style that they figured would give them an advantage against the Yankees, even though they had fewer numbers. Here's an example of a Southern Cross, which is very interesting. It was given to one of the two different types of honors given to soldiers, and a couple surgical things. Everybody knows that they had to use saws. They give them some whiskey and something else to numb the pain and just saw the leg off or limb. And apparently around 289,000 Confederates died and 164,000 from disease, dysentery and typhoid fever. Yeah, laudanum and chloroform besides whiskey were given. Old style croquets and such. Old sewing loom, spinning loom for weaving wool into clothing. This is interesting. In the news, Trump said that they shouldn't have got rid of the All-Star game in Atlanta. But the South has a rich history with baseball here. This is called Songs of the South, actually, from the Negro spirituals in Atlanta, Georgia. This place is now owned by the Nacogdoches Independent School District, and it receives federal funding, so come here and visit and log your name and they will get more money, or you can donate here to elevate the old Nacogdoches building, which is on Washington Square, which is a full Mercado ceremonial site, so it all comes together. If you're sensitive to the paranormal as well, you can come here and see what psychic energies you can find. Nothing wrong with that. Sam Houston gave a speech here for his run for governor before he was deposed in 1861. A couple of the buildings here in succession of styles. Beautiful Caddo woman named Angelina, who was very important translator, like Sacagawea, or the lady who translated for Cortez. That Spanish sod or thatching and an Anglo style paneling, and one style for the African Americans and the Mexican Americans. Here's an interesting looking doll you might see in like the Amityville Horror or something. But it's just an old style doll from I think 1861 donated. This thing is from the Grubel family. Yeah, been occupied by the Mason. The high chair was given to OUB by Dr. Robert Grubel, which is the former resident of the Blunt House, which is now the location of Fortney Home, my father's store on Mound Street. This is interesting. This is the president's room, old style construction and bedding. This guy's very interesting from North Carolina University. You can read more about him from the North Carolina Library. Also interesting, the University of Virginia, I believe, has many Chiricahua Apache texts. It's where Lieutenant Gatewood went, former Confederate soldier. So the South has a rich history of different languages. He learned Latin, and so back in the day, the South has some really good education, history, Bachelor of Arts or a Doctor of Arts, but also served as an engineer. Bachelor of Arts degree in 1954. Stonewall Jackson went to the Virginia Military Academy, I believe, and he was also very highly educated. Interesting, the North Carolina Tar Heels basketball coach just retired. So there are many interesting things here. Some old dresses. Well, here's something else from the Grubel family, 1800s sofa. Some old style dresses from antebellum South, very interesting. You might imagine yourself in a ball at that time where they practiced their accents. They learned to speak in the proper Southern accent, which I'm working on myself. So come by and visit. I'm on the second floor. There's many things on the first floor as well, but this is where it's happening. A bunch of really old school desks. And example of some of the books in Mirabeau B. Lamar thought education was important. They really honed it after the Civil War and the Reconstruction era, public schools at least. But we had a good education, I think, back in the day. Learned Latin and French, all the different philosophies and poetry, the sciences, and history. Now, here's some more of the books here of the Northman who visited the coast of Greenland. I cannot stop doing this accent for some reason. Must be something paranormal going on. Some really old books. And so, swing on by. Some surveys of different populations. Back in the day, we had the German Hill Country, a heavily Teutonized Spanish-Mexican, the battling poor whites, and the plantation aristocracy. El Camino Real. Texas has a rich southern history with all of these counties representing different states of the Deep South: Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Alabama, and Mississippi, and Georgia. So, out of the Dolphin Stern House in the Bright Center, this is quite a historical town. Anyway, it all began with the cattle. Check out the Liberty Bell, or the historic bell in Nacogdoches, built by the apprentice of Paul Revere. I'm a little afraid to ring it, but you can probably do that yourself.